I am someone who tries to stand up for what I believe is right. I'm not afraid to make difficult decisions. I understand that some of those decisions have generated controversy. I respect this process, and I'm here today to address some of your questions about those decisions. But I want to be clear about one thing up front. There is a wildly inaccurate caricature of me in the mainstream media. I am not anybody's henchman. I'm not an enforcer. I'm a lawyer from a small town who never expected to be in an arena like this. Not until Todd called me and gave me an opportunity to participate in some of the most historic and significant legal battles of our lifetime. I'm proud of what Todd and I accomplished as part of President Trump's defense team. But I think that because some of that happened so recently, it might be easy to overlook the fact that I've spent most of my life in public service. I have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States more than once, and I have honored that oath. These experiences collectively, as a paralegal, a law clerk, a prosecutor, and a defense lawyer, have left me with deep respect for the rule of law. That is a system that is in place to protect everyone, and the federal courts play a critical role in that process. Those are the first principles that would guide me every single day if I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed. Thank you again for this opportunity to give some remarks at the start, and I look forward to your questions.
They lost their jobs in the Department of Justice and in the FBI because you identified them as being involved in the January 6th prosecution. You cannot call, on one hand, that prosecution as a grave injustice, as you did in your own memo here, and then on the other hand, tell me how seriously you feel about people assaulting police officers.
I have to disagree again, respectfully, most respectfully. No FBI agents, to my knowledge, were terminated in connection with the list that's referenced in that memo. What I requested was some information about who had participated so that I could begin, and the department could begin a process of reviewing the events to identify whether there were the types of heavy-handed tactics that I just referenced. That process—
I have one last question here. Do you support President Trump's full and unconditional pardon of January 6 rioters who violently assaulted law enforcement officers?
It's not for me to question President Trump's exercise of the pardon power any more than it would be for me to question President Biden's commutation of death sentences or his pardons of drug traffickers.
I want to hear from you directly. How do you respond to these allegations? And did you ever advise the Department of Justice to defy court order?
So to get to the last part of that question first, Chairman, no, I have never advised a Department of Justice attorney to violate a court order.
And I'm wondering where the lines are for you. What's the line in the sand when you wield awesome power of government? What is that line for you? Because clearly lying to a court isn't a red line. Referring to follow court or refusing to follow court orders isn't a line. Doxing judges and government officials isn't a red line. Intimidating attorneys you supervise into doing things they believe is unethical is not a line. So what's your red line? I really wonder, what could the president ask you to do that you wouldn't do? What wouldn't you do to win? A judge has to uphold core values and principles: independence, impartiality, integrity, diligence. A judge must be free from undue influence. A judge must decide cases fairly without prejudice or favor. A judge must ensure that anyone who appears before them in court will get a fair shake.
Thank you, Mr.
Everything
Booker.
we're hearing you say makes me believe that you're incapable of that. The pattern didn't just begin when you were nominated by this president. Peers of yours, prosecutors, attorneys who served with you, and judges in your past year have again and again cited you as someone who is not capable or qualified of doing this job in which you're nominated for. Thank you,
Ms.
Madam
Britt.
Chair.
I want you to look me in the eye and swear to your higher being when you answer this question. Did you make a deal, a political deal, to dismiss the charges against Mayor Adams?
Absolutely not.
Did anybody else that you witnessed make a political deal to dismiss the charges?
Absolutely not.
You swear to your higher being?
I swear to my higher being and on every bone in my body.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Klobuchar.